Welcome to week one, everybody, says a man who has 3 drafts today. Yeah, we're still drafting, but we're also getting ready to set our lineups for fantasy week one. It is Tuesday, September 5th. Hope everybody had a great Labor Day holiday, and now we're ready to labor for 18 weeks. Like work labor, not like labor. Adam Azer, Dave Richard, and Jamie Eisenberg. How many drafts you guys have left?
2.
Jamie, you look so young. It's unbelievable.
What do you do?
25. He's clean shaven and got a haircut. And what is that thing in your room near your face?
What is that? Oh, the microphone.
New microphone.
Beautiful microphone.
There you
look,
go.
you sound.
Oh, wait. Did you show off the sides of your head? I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Adam, let's see the sides of your head. Oh, they look normal as usual. Okay, great.
You can't really see it anymore. That was the easy part, though. This is what Adam didn't understand. Like it
I understood. I would have
grow back in 3 days.
I got to read an email first. Yesterday we did a plant your flag segment where I jokingly said I made it up. Email of the day comes from Jim. Where's Jim from, Dave?
Bristol, Connecticut.
Adam, your buddy Chris Harris isn't going to be happy about you stealing his flag planting shtick. He invented this concept like 10 years ago when he was still at ESPN and been doing his flag player list every year since. It's like his most important segment that he builds up to doing every August. With that said, Harris is a huge Acer fan, and if anyone were to steal his flag player list concept, you are probably the one person he would be okay with doing it. LOL. All right, Chris Harris, I am sorry. Didn't mean to steal any segment there. Chris is a good dude. I think he'll be okay with it. But yeah, we planted some flags yesterday, but apparently I stole that from Chris Harris, and I apologize for that.
You were so adamant too.
What'd you say?
You were so adamant too.
Well, you guys, you couldn't even do the segment right. All you did was your bold predictions. It didn't have to be that.
Don't say you guys. I wasn't there.
So Colin pointed out on Twitter, plant your flag, performance that hasn't happened yet that you believe will happen. Bold prediction, a lofty prediction that is unlikely to happen, but you can see a pathway. That's all it is.
I can't believe we have our audience defining our little terms for us. This is twice now in the last 2 weeks, Adam.
Did you guys have a draft yesterday?
I had one Sunday.
Where did Cooper Kupp go?
Right after my pick of Calvin Ridley in round 2, 14-team league.
He went in. My drafts were probably not the best ones because they were both non-PPR, and they were both. One was a father-son one was a keeper one with weird rules.
Okay. Cooper Kupp, I took him 36. I took him at the 3-4 turn yesterday.
Too soon.
Too soon?
Put it all together.
Yeah.
You know, he hurt his hamstring again, went to see a specialist. And then
not a round 2 pick for you anymore?
Yeah, yesterday, Sean McVay is he can't answer a question straight about what's going on with his hamstring. It sounds to me like it's going to be pretty serious.
Yeah, so this was a 2-receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex league. If it had been a 3-receiver league, I'm not sure I would have taken him there. You know, just having to start an extra player. You don't want to give up a 3rd, 4th round pick. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't necessarily feel too soon, but nobody else took him. So 36, you say is too soon. Jamie, how about you for Kupp?
Oh, I think it's perfect.
Okay, but the thing is, 7 quarterbacks were off the board when I got to 36.
And now
I wanted to take Trevor Lawrence. I wanted that top 8 quarterback, and I don't really like the team that much. And by the way, it's not my team. I was drafting for a 10-year-old. But and then he took over for like the second half of the draft. But I really want that top 8 quarterback, and I don't care what anyone says. If it happens again, it won't happen again because all my drafts are CBS drafts, or like you guys drafts now. Oh no, that's not true. I do have like one sort of home league draft. It happens again, I'm reaching. And I don't care what you say, okay? Okay.
Hey, it's your team, man. Have fun with it.
Okay.
Have fun reaching.
Any other observations from your drafts? Anything stand out?
No, again, not the best comparison for what we usually talk about.
And I'm in mine again, 14 teams, a lot of people that know what they're doing. PPR. I can go through the results if you really want.
No, that's all right. Just wanted to know if
good, because I don't want to bring them up.
Great. All right, we got live streams starting this week, Thursday night. And we've got Thursday night, Monday night. Well, I'll go in order. Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday morning. Monday and Thursday night are going to be before kickoff, probably around 7:15 or 7:30 when we start. We haven't settled on the time yet, but we'll answer your questions. Monday night, we can talk about whatever you want. Thursday night's going to be start or sit. For the most part, you can ask whatever you want there too. Sunday morning, 11:30 a.m. Eastern until kickoff. So it's an hour and a half of nothing but start or sit advice. No commercials, just your questions. And that's youtube.com/fantasy football today. That's the only place you can find them. youtube.com/fantasy football today. We also have Sunday morning prep on CBS Sports HQ that you're going to want to check out as well. But join us for our live streams. Got a lot of news and notes for you, including an article from The Athletic where a beat writer from each team answered a fantasy question, and some pretty interesting responses there, including about Kyle Pitts, about Khalil Herbert, Damian Pierce, Sky Moore, etc. But first, the Jets are going to be smart with Breece Hall's workload to start the season, and they start the season on Monday night against the Bills, a huge game for the Jets, I'd say. Just kind of a statement, perhaps. And are you guys going to be comfortable starting either Breece Hall or Dalvin Cook in week 1?
No.
You got to have lower expectations. We got to see how it looks. At best, they are low end number 2, high end number 3 running backs. And I've got Hall ahead of Cook, but you could easily make the case of Cook ahead of Hall.
Do you have
Both flex options at best.
Deion Jackson ahead of them?
No, not that far.
No, that's fireable.
I would start Raheem Mostert though. We're both.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in that group.
Cooper Kupp saw a specialist over the weekend, as Dave said, and apparently I took him too early at 36. Miami running back Devon Achane could be ready for this week's, and left tackle Teron Armstead could be back. They are at the Chargers. They are underdogs. Interesting. Dallas safety Jordan Lewis was limited in practice. They get the Giants on Sunday night. Arizona has not named a starting quarterback yet. They're at Washington. What else? I think Kendry Miller missed practice. Is that right?
I would expect him to play.
Yeah, he's been on and off the field all summer.
And that's pretty much all the news and notes I have there.
There'll be more.
This show is going to be a lot shorter than I thought. Why don't we jump?
Two defensive guys we got to keep an eye on. Chris Jones to see if he shows up. That's huge. And then Nick Bosa, which at this point you got to expect both guys to miss week 1.
Yeah, how is Chris Jones going to play at this point? I mean,
either of them, right?
I think I saw somebody tweeted about TJ Watt showing up last year right before the start of the season and had 2 sacks in the first game.
Then got hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nick Bosa playing the Steelers. Chris Jones gets the Lions on Thursday. All right, let's do some superlatives here. Most likely to get picked in round 4 or later, but play like a first rounder.
Didn't we do this one already?
Yeah, we did it.
We did a lot of these already.
Network. We didn't do it on the show.
Oh, on the network, right?
So does that mean you want different answers, or
I
you want?
don't care. Whatever you want.
Okay.
Most likely to get picked in round 4 or later, but play like a first rounder.
J.K. Dobbins.
Dobbins, yes. Damian Pierce.
Do those guys really have first round upside, or they have more like late round 2 upside?
Would you like a plant your flag bold prediction that I'm going to say on CBS Sports HQ today?
Sure. Did you already say it?
No.
Plant your bold prediction.
J.K. Dobbins is going to be a top 10 fantasy running back this year and outscore Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry.
Okay. I just like, does he have, do you need to be kind of more in the passing game to be true round 1 upside? Could that
yeah, but again, I don't know if he has to be 50 catches.
Yeah. All right. Most likely to get drafted in round 1 or 2, but be a complete bust.
Jacobs.
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Nah, he's not going to get round 1 or 2 anymore.
He was in round 2 on Sunday.
You just said he was, or Dave says round 2.
14 teams.
14 teams.
Was it top 24?
I don't. Yeah, I actually think it was top.
What pick did you have yesterday?
I think I had 5.
Oh, it was right on the border.
I'll say Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. Okay. Most likely to be a second half league winner.
Breece Hall.
Roshan.
Sophomore best value pick. Not best sophomore, but best value of the
Mm.
sophomores.
It's either Jahan Dotson based on where his ADP is still, or Sky Moore.
Sky Moore's on the list. How about both Packers wide receivers, Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs? Dobbs hurt right now, but I think he'll be
I hate
fine.
the hamstring injury for him.
I know. Hopefully he's not seeing a specialist in Minnesota anytime soon.
Most likely to lead the Seahawks in catches.
DK.
Jackson Smith Njigba.
Most likely to lead all quarterbacks in rushing yards.
Anthony Richardson.
Yes, that is the right answer, especially if there's no Jonathan Taylor.
In 10 games, he's going to do that?
Anthony Adam Azer Hot Garbage Richardson.
Woo!
Most likely to lead all Eagles.
What a plot twist that you've become the Gardner Minshew guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really the Gardner Minshew guy.
If you're saying that Anthony Richardson's going to be terrible,
Not
you are
terrible. Hot
overtaking
garbage. That
heat.
was the quote. Hot garbage.
You said he was going to be hot garbage
For fantasy, yeah.
for fantasy. For fantasy.
No, actually, I think he'll be worse
Sure.
in real life than fantasy. I don't think he's going to get benched, though. There's just no reason to bench him. He'd have to be so bad to get benched.
How many leagues have you drafted Gardner Minshew in, Adam?
One. I know you did one.
You
It
did?
might have been mock, but I know you did one.
It may have been our Bake Burger Dynasty League where I only have 2 quarterbacks. Maybe. It was like a super flex. That's a super flex league. If I drafted him, it was in a
Super flex format, right?
Yeah.
So you might have drafted more shares of Minshew than Heath.
I may have drafted more shares of Minshew than Richardson, but like I said, I'm not opposed to drafting Richardson at his ADP. I'm just opposed to at.
So I drafted him last night in round 9 or 10. 9.
Yeah.
And it's a
Yeah.
keeper draft.
Oh.
So I would keep him around. I already taken Justin Fields, so it was just strictly for his keeper value. And one of my buddies who went to Florida texted me and said, "Wow, what a homer pick! Don't you remember how terrible he was?"
I know everyone. Yeah.
And I said back to him, I said, "His game will be better in the NFL than it is in college because he'll get better coaching." And he said, "Good luck with that."
Yeah, man. Every Gators fan just thinks he stinks. But that's not really, relevant because Jamie's right. It could certainly be better. I just don't know if it's going to be this year. But Dave, I mean, I brought this up. I don't think you were on this show. No, you weren't. It was mailbag. I mean, I really think if they get the number 1 pick in the draft, that they're going to stink, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They have a chance to be the worst team in football. A chance. I'm not going to project it while the Cardinals are still in the league, but
I'm betting on it.
like I think they have to take Caleb Williams. I do not think it matters. I don't think. Yeah, I think they have to.
No, I think you're right.
Jamie does it.
No, if he's epically bad, then yes, they have to take Caleb Williams. If he's showing promise to be the player that he's capable of, I mean, there's nobody that did what he did at the combine at that position ever. And so if he's that type of player and he shows promise and the team just stinks, which is certainly capable of happening, then they're taking Marvin Harrison.
This owner knows what it takes to win in the National Football League.
Oh yeah, he's the best.
No, he drafted Peyton Manning. He won a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. He was very competitive with Peyton Manning. He was on his way there many times with Andrew Luck. What?
Now we're comparing Caleb Williams to Peyton Manning?
No, he's a better passer than Anthony Richardson. Richardson's going to have to let's set a low bar of a 60% completion rate. If Richardson does that, then they've got a big decision to make.
I'm taking.
If he can't even hit 60% of his passes, and they've got the number 1 pick in the draft, they are taking Caleb Williams. They might take May at number 2 if they have the second worst record in the league this year. We'll see how Richard. Listen, I love him for fantasy. I really.
He's got to be bad.
He's got to be bad. If they don't win games with him running, then the door's open for them to replace him after 1 year.
But I don't think
Cardinals did it with Josh Rosen.
I just think it's about what he looks like and how his development is.
Right, we have to see, but
of course,
if you pass,
I'm not saying it's going to happen.
There's also a lot of dog poop around him right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's just not. There's nothing that's good for him. Nothing's good for Richardson from a fantasy standpoint. His weapons stink.
Except his legs.
Yeah.
Which is why we're drafting him at around 100th overall.
Most likely to lead. Yeah, but you're drafting him much earlier than everyone else.
That's okay.
Most likely, he does. Most likely to lead all Eagles running backs in carries.
Kenneth Gainwell.
I'll be hopeful and say DeAndre Swift.
Thank you. Best Chiefs wide receiver.
Sky.
From a production standpoint or a talent standpoint?
From his production standpoint.
I'm going to hate this answer, but it's Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Oh, that's
Why are you
I
saying
hate it for you.
Why do
are
I
you
say
saying
that?
that
Because he's going to be on the
telling
field
people
more.
to draft Sky Moore?
Because I'm hopeful Sky Moore's better. But
This is what I don't. Okay, this is what I don't understand. Now, Jamie had Sky Moore ahead of Kadarius Toney before the Toney injury, but I feel like almost everyone had Toney ahead of Moore. And everything we read leading up to the Toney injury was that the Chiefs were
Loved him.
committed to Kadarius Toney being their number one guy. Well, now he's back. He's ready for week 1. So
we hope he's able to play. We hope he's going to play.
he's not. I mean, I thought Andy Reid said he's good to go.
Yes, but does that mean he's playing 50% of snaps? Is he playing 20% of snaps? No, he's
Right.
just out there
Yeah.
just standing around. You know what I mean?
No, fair point. But I guess you see where I'm going with this. If he was ahead of Sky Moore for most people before, and now he's healthy again, is it just that like we saw that injury and it's just
it's fear of injury with him.
Okay.
It's and I bet the coaching staff has a little bit of fear too. They don't
When
want to
did we,
overwork him and have him miss time again.
Yeah.
I want to say it was July, but it was before he got hurt when we had the conversation about like banking on injuries or guys that we thought would get injured. I don't know how we phrased it. I know it was just talking about him, but and I think Heath said I think you might have asked like what's the percentage of injury? I forget how you phrased it, and Heath said Tony's injury percentage was very high, and you were like, why would you say that?
I said that.
You did. You're trying to, I think, I don't know, be devil's advocate or be a little bit.
I mean, it sounds like something I'd say. It's
positive,
a good
but
impression.
it's like with a player like this, you just have to understand like there's going to be these problems until it gets corrected consistently, and who knows if that'll ever happen.
All right, let's see what else I have. Most likely to lead the Panthers in receiving yards.
Thielen.
It's probably the right answer. I'll say Jonathan Mingo to be a little different.
This one hurt my feelings when we did it on the network, on CBS Sports Network on Friday. Funniest member of fantasy football today.
Same answer, Dan Schneider.
He is not even close. He's not even close.
See, but I think we define humor differently here because I think all of us have different levels of being funny. Every time Dan does something, it just makes me laugh. So like,
he's not funny. He's just you laughing at him, not with him.
Every time I start to answer a question, I just see Dan doing this. I know it's coming, like the laughter.
All right, Dave, what's your answer? Who's the funniest member of FFT?
I'll make you feel better, and I'll say you, Adam.
I wasn't pandering for that at all. I love to get
you are the funniest. You are the most handsome. You are the smartest. You are the sharpest.
I'd like to get Schaefer's take on that. Schaefer,
smell nice.
Who's the funniest? Can we get Thomas on here?
You have well-behaved children.
Who's the funniest? Yeah.
He's gonna sound like teacher's pet, but I'm gonna go Azer.
Yeah,
because you keep everybody in line. You throw little jabs at everybody. Yeah, he throws little jabs at everybody, and I think it's Azer.
For the record, I think it's Dave, but I'll take it. Someone. Okay, I got some superlatives from the audience. Most likely to lead the league in sacks, interceptions, and tackles. Need a little more IDP talk from M23 NYC. Sacks, interceptions, and tackles. I mean, sacks is probably
each. There, you want a different person for each category? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, sacks. I'll just take.
Wait. So you don't want like one guy for everything?
No, I don't think any. I don't think.
Sacks, I'll go Micah Parsons.
Yeah, Parsons is a great call. TJ Watt's a great call.
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett might be the best one.
Max Crosby.
Bosa did it last year. Pretty sure he's like 18 and a half. All right, most likely to lead the league in interceptions.
I'll say
Xavier Howard gets a lot of interceptions, doesn't he?
Jesse Bates.
Jesse Bates. Derwin James.
He's the one who's most likely to lead in like all categories. He's awesome.
Most likely to lead the league in tackles.
Roquan Smith.
Fulukan?
Foye Oluokun?
Oluokun.
Foye Oluokun? Yeah. I think you gave him like one of those mashup names.
I did.
That's good. All right. Most likely to exceed ranking if healthy all year from Caleb.
Jonathan Taylor.
Ranking?
Yeah.
Or ADP?
Ranking.
Most likely to see ranking if healthy all year. I will say Javonte Williams.
Taylor comes back week 5 and plays 13 games. It's him.
Yeah. Most likely to lead the Patriots in receiving from Steeman Beeman.
I got a fun answer for this one. Demario
Ramondre
Douglas. Their rookie jitterbug.
It's got to be. I'm going Juju.
Their version of Kadarius Toney.
What did you say, Jamie?
I said Ramondre.
Oh, most likely to be the hot commodity off the waiver wire after week 1. This is from Sean.
Puka Nacua.
Savon Ahmed.
I got one. I'm going to say Thielen, but I'm actually going to look up his roster percentage, which I have. But is Chark going to play?
Not sure.
Don't believe so.
I don't think we ranked him.
No, Thielen's 72% roster. Never mind.
Doesn't count.
That's
But you
a-
could
I
say
did
Mingo.
the first version of waivers, and if you're looking for like not crazy like Puka or Ahmed, although Puka's not that crazy, but Ahmed is crazy. If you're looking for like guys that are still low roster, it's crazy like to see like where Roshan's roster percentage is, where trying to think like guys that we've talked a lot about. Romeo Dobbs, not even 70%.
Yep.
Nico Collins, not even 70%. It's a lot of interesting names out there.
All right.
What's Van Jefferson's? I said Puka, but maybe
Van
Jefferson.
is nowhere close to
22%.
50%.
22.
Okay, so that could also be the correct answer.
Yep.
In fact, I will change my answer.
All right.
I got to go one.
Yeah.
Just because Dobbs is hurt. Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed's a great one.
This is from Bodyguard. Most insane pick you've seen in drafts so far.
Insane pick.
Mm-hmm. For me, it was Justin Herbert in round 2 yesterday.
Herbert round 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I drafted with a Bears fan last night, and he took the Bears defense and Cairo Santos back to back, and I said, "Wow, I did 50 plus drafts and 100 probably mocks total." And I said, "First time I've ever seen the Bears defense draft." And he goes, "But they get Jordan Love in week 1." I'm like, that's not a great thing.
Okay.
That's I think the Bears are favored in that game.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
By 2.
Interesting. All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, the fantasy cops are here. All those notes from The Athletic that I was talking about, really interesting stuff, and your emails and your tweets. We'll be right back on Fantasy Football Today. Kind of in a no man's land in terms of content right now.
I got to go in for craziest pick.
Oh, all right. That was before the commercial, but okay. But
some idiot drafted Gardner Minshew.
That's nuts.
I think if I did that, it was a super flex league where I only had 2 quarterbacks.
I think you did do it in Bake Burger, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and we have 23 roster spots in there. I remember drafting Evan Hull, and with my last pick,
Nice.
and being so mad because I wanted to draft Zach Ertz instead. But I think I'm just going to stay with Evan Hull.
Nice job.
All right. By the way,
He could be the answer for the guy to pick up off waivers.
maybe. Oh yeah, Fantasy Cops settling your league disputes. I didn't put the name in this one. Dave, give me a name in a city.
Khalid from Miami, Florida.
Help me, Fantasy Cops. Did I commit highway robbery? Someone in my redraft league took both Kelsey and Andrews, thinking it was a 2 tight end league. I mean, real record scratch. How do you think it's a 2 tight end league? How do you?
I don't know if you. I would hope they think maybe it's tight end premium league, and you could play one as a flex. Then that's somewhat understandable.
Maybe, but
It is a double flex according to Khalid's email.
I see that, but I thought it was a 2 tight end league. I never heard that before. Anyway,
A little Rodney Dangerfield there. I like it.
yeah, no respect for the tight ends.
He went from overrated bar mitzvah DJ to Rodney Dangerfield.
They realized their mistake after the draft and put Andrews up for trade. I sent an offer of Tyler Lockett straight up for Mark Andrews. While I think Andrews is much better than Lockett when starting at tight end, I thought the offer was reasonable because you lose the positional advantage when you put a tight end in the flex. The Andrews manager accepted the trade, and the rest of the league went nuts, saying it was a completely unfair trade and should be vetoed. Tyler Lockett for Mark Andrews. The commissioner said they don't agree with the veto 99% of the time, but this was the most unbalanced trade they'd ever seen and would overturn it with a unanimous vote. Ultimately, the Andrews manager said the app glitched and crashed while they tried to reject the trade, and it was accepted by mistake. Okay.
What a league this is.
I took them at their word and agreed to reverse the trade. I am confident in my assessment of the trade being strongly in my favor, but ultimately making both teams better. But the uproar it put the rest of the league in has me doubting myself. Was this a veto-worthy trade? My Tyler Lockett for his Mark Andrews.
I mean, in the sense of if there are vetoes allowed, then yes, it should not be allowed to go through. But if the truth of the matter is that the manager of Mark Andrews did accept the trade, then you just have to live with the results, league and both parties involved. My guess is that the manager who accepted the Andrews manager was probably really embarrassed realizing that he wasn't playing in the 2 tight end league, and that's probably the only offer he got, or maybe the best offer that he got, and decided he was going to accept it to make his team more balanced and fair. But to say that the app froze and then the whole league to go crazy, like, that's just terrible.
Yeah, this manager is a disaster.
Like if the app really froze, you would have said that immediately, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you would text or call the commissioner as soon as it's happening.
Right. Unless, just to be fair, unless it's just a very casual fantasy player, which sounds like it might be. And I don't know when this happened. When we get the email for this?
Oh, very recently.
So, I mean, long weekend, somebody's going away for the Labor Day weekend, hits what they think is reject, doesn't check their email or the broken app, and then comes back to all this poop storm of, you did this. Why did you accept this trade?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Embarrassing. But I got to say something here. I don't even feel like I know Jamie anymore. For example, the whole bust list, the void list thing, I thought we were on the same team. Turns out we were on completely different teams. You're saying that Andrews for Lockett is vetoable? I'm the guy who's usually saying it's okay to veto trades if they're egregious. This is not an egregious trade. I mean,
I would never veto this trade. I'm saying if you're just talking about player for player in terms of value, it's not a fair trade in that regard.
But it's not a vetoable trade.
No, I wouldn't veto
it. It is not.
Okay. I mean, look, if you drafted Andrews last year, you drafted him even higher, right? Like second round last year.
Lockett was a better player at his position.
Lockett blew him away. Andrews stunk. It ended up, he had the injury and Jackson got hurt. But Lockett outperforms his ADP every year. So it's not a good trade, at least on paper, but it's not even close to vetoable. And for your league to freak out over it, I mean, this is important here. You can't veto those types of trades.
Right.
You can't veto trades that you wish you had made, basically, because, someone got a steal, or at least you think. But it's within the very realistic realm of possibility that Lockett could be better than Mark Andrews. So you have to veto a trade that is so out of this world, crazy, terrible. That's the only trade that gets vetoed, that really disturbs the balance of the league. Lockett for Andrews is a bad trade, but it's not a veto trade.
Right.
Mark Andrews for Puka Nacua.
Right. That's
right. Exactly. Or like Cortland Sutton.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't even veto that, but I'd be more.
Right.
Yeah.
That's even more sketch.
Yeah. You can't veto that many trades. It's got to be a real high threshold. All right. Notes from The Athletic and their story. A question about each team. The Atlanta question was, where should I draft Kyle Pitts? And Josh Kendall wrote, not high unless you like to live dangerously. For starters, Pitts is coming off a 28 catch, 356 yard, 2-touchdown season that ended, blah, 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 due to an MCL tear. I don't see Pitts being any higher than 4th on this team in targets. Plus, he still must prove he's healthy after last season's surgery.
He did not look like himself in the preseason game against Cincinnati. He did not practice every snap against Miami over 2 days. So he's still working his way back from the knee injury.
That's like a month ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the issue. And I had Pitts ahead of London going into the practices, and I moved that. I've switched that. London ahead of Pitts, and now London's way ahead of Pitts. I still think he's got a chance. One of the reasons why he had 28 catches, 356 yards, and 2 touchdowns is because his quarterback was just abysmal. And so if Ritter can be any more accurate, especially on short and intermediate stuff, then he'll be fine. I could see him being 2nd or 3rd on the team in targets. 4th is crazy. 4th means that the writer expects Kyle Pitts to miss games and for Mac Hollins, who did line up a lot with the starters, to pick up a lot of targets.
Well, he is their starting receiver.
He is a starting receiver. Mac
Fourth
Hollins.
in targets, he's got to be first or second in targets. I mean, that would be if it could be third because that'd be Bijan, right? But
Sure.
I think the only way he's fourth in targets is if he's injured. I mean,
Yeah.
that would just be such a gross mismanagement of arguably your best player. I mean, but what he's capable of doing. I don't think he's their best player, but if he's able
Not
to
anymore.
turn into what he's capable of becoming, then he is just an absolute freak. And so he's got to think that he's not right, which he references.
yeah, we might not be right. He also mentioned that Arthur Smith said last year that Pitts had a good year because he did the things that Arthur Smith wanted him to do.
Yeah, he got open.
Well, no, he was part of the run game too. I mean, Arthur Smith maybe it's just not a tight end friendly offense. I think that was also part of the point.
Which is great because he's not really a tight end.
But the funny thing about that is Arthur Smith, before he became the offensive coordinator for the Titans, was their tight ends coach.
Right, but I think
this is
more in a run oriented way.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely when I talked to him in May, when I asked him about both these guys, he didn't say this about Pitts, but he certainly said it about London. He said what he does for us in the run game is huge. I'm like, oh, great, you're talking about your wide receiver in the run game.
Yeah.
But he values those things, and so I know we don't think of Pitts typically as an inline tight end and a blocking tight end, but blocking on the perimeter for a team that runs the ball is very, very important. And it's an underrated skill for a lot of these second and third receivers, number 2, number 3 receivers, to get them in some cases on the field. I'm sure Mac Hollins being one of those. I mean, the guy is just jacked, but
they all are.
They're
a basketball team.
I would be very, very surprised if Pitts is horrible. But the point, though, is with Kyle Pitts, when you're drafting him, and whether you want to put him 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th at tight end, you're drafting him with the chance to become what he can become. And that's just how you have to approach it. Just understand that you may have to make a transaction at some point after 3 or 4 weeks. You're not dropping him, I don't think. I don't think you should. But you may have to find a second tight end to help you.
Okay, so here's a note from Adam Jans. We'll go Parks and Recs. We'll go Jams.
Chicago, right?
Jams.
I think it's John's.
John's. All right. Right now, it's Khalil Herbert, but for how long? The Bears' best back could be rookie Roschon Johnson by week 3 or week 4.
Ooh.
From his hard-nosed downhill style to pass blocking, Johnson has been everything the Bears said he'd be after they drafted him in the 4th round. But can Johnson really be an every down back after backing up superstar Bijan Robinson at Texas? There are a lot of questions, which makes knowing when to draft the Bears running back difficult.
He's my most rostered player. More than
Don too.
Wow.
I think of 25 leagues, I probably have him in about 17.
Wow. All right. This is from Mike Jones about the Texans backfield. Jones, you think? Jonas?
Jones.
The addition of Devin funniest guy on the show. The addition of Devin Singletary may mean a lighter workload for Dameon Pierce. Pierce should still start, and the Texans would be smart to use a steady dose of the run to ease pressure on CJ Stroud. However, with it appearing as if Houston plans on going with a platoon, Pierce as your top back may be unwise. Second back, sure thing.
Agreed. He's a terrific number 2 fantasy running back with the potential to be a number 1 by the time the year ends. He's more physical than Singletary, and I think he's just as elusive / ability to break tackles as Singletary. Like the one thing that Devin Singletary does really, really well is he can stop on a dime, cut, make a guy miss, and then keep going. And Pierce is good at that, but not as good as Singletary. But Pierce rather is good at everything else. The type of run game that the Texans are going to have, it's stolen from San Francisco. Pierce was efficient running that when Houston ran it last year with a worse offensive line. And I think he's a better bruiser at the goal line than Singletary. Fully expect him to be the main running back.
I mean, yeah, it's not an argument that Pierce is that Singletary is better. It's just how much of a platoon is it going to be?
I mean, the preseason didn't seem to indicate that, so that's the positive thing. So we'll find out. I just wonder though, was this notes from The Athletic to depress us, or was this notes from The Athletic to make us more excited? Because this feels very depressing.
Get excited about Devin Singletary. All right, how about this one? Zach Moss will be the likely starter in Taylor's absence. Moss is recovering from a broken right arm And Shane Steichen said he hopes Moss is healthy by week 1. If he isn't available, RB1 duties will either go to third-year pro Deion Jackson or rookie Evan Hull. That's from James Boyd. So, the takeaway there, Zach Moss will be the likely starter in Taylor's absence.
This is another one going back to your question about who could be somebody you're looking to add in week 2. I don't think he's going to be the most important player to add, but if Deion Jackson and Evan Hull stink against Jacksonville and Moss is ready for week 2, and we know that Taylor's still out for 3 more weeks, he's going to be one of the lead guys in my waiver wire running back section. So when I wrote this yesterday, I said Deion Jackson's the one you should add now, because if he does do well in week 1, you want to make sure you're getting ahead of that. So he's the one you should be looking to pick up first if he's still out there. But if you can stash Zach Moss somehow, I don't think that's a bad move, because while he's not great, he does certainly profile as someone who's done it before, and that might be something that they're looking at, just a veteran presence to help their young quarterback, which is what they were hoping Jonathan Taylor would be, and we know that none of these guys are Jonathan Taylor.
Some league platforms will let you stash players who are out on your IR, and Moss could be one of those guys that you can stash on your IR, and then you don't even have to wait till Jamie's column to come out. You've already got him on your squad. For the record, I think Jackson's just a guy. I would rather have Evan Hull.
Yeah, I'd rather have none of them personally, because it could be, as Dave alluded to, a 4-week window, and then hopefully Jonathan Taylor's back in week 5, and you're not even worried about these guys. So, it just depends, I think, what's on your waiver wire. But I would, if I'm looking at it long term, I would probably go Zach Moss.
All right. How about this for the Chiefs from Nate Taylor? Who will be Patrick Mahomes' number 2 target behind Travis Kelce? He does not even mention Kadarius Toney. He says the 2 best candidates are Sky Moore and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. If Moore stays healthy, an argument can be made that Mahomes will target him the most among the receivers. The receiver who is most capable of catching a 50-yard pass, though, is Valdez-Scantling. All right.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I'm just surprised that he didn't even mention Kadarius Toney.
Well, I mean, at what point do you start to say, and I think, this is different from fantasy. Like, if you're just analyzing the Chiefs receiving core, it's hard to say that Kadarius Toney is going to make the impact that he's capable of when he's not on the field, because he's just not available. And so, he struggled to stay healthy following the trade last year. He struggled to stay healthy with the Giants. He's now struggling to stay healthy going into what is supposed to be his biggest season, full off season with this team, and getting ready to maybe be their number 1 receiver. And so I don't blame the writer for saying that, but from our perspective, he should be at worst the second guy being drafted, because you're hoping for that upside. You're hoping for that type of player to finally shine through and be the first round draft pick that he was by the Giants, and the player that the Chiefs acquired in trade. And when you're looking at a guy being attached to arguably the best quarterback in the NFL, you want that.
Yeah. This is from depressing note number 6 from The Athletic from Chad Graff. Part of the reason the Patriots signed Ezekiel Elliott is his ability in short yardage. There's a very real chance Zeke becomes the team's goal line back, vulturing touchdowns from Stevenson.
No way.
It'll be important to pay attention early to how the carries shake out in New England.
I'm shocked.
Right.
No one saw this one coming.
Well, I mean, it's not a good thing.
But it's like the bare minimum of Zeke affecting Ramondre. If all he's going to do is steal touchdowns, then I have Ramondre Stevenson ranked low. Jamie will argue that I've got him ranked too low anyway. I think Zeke is going to end up taking away some rushing work away from Ramondre as well. And it'll be a pain in the butt, multifaceted, multiplayer rushing approach in an offense that should be better throwing the ball downfield rather than horizontally.
Coach, we need 2.5 yards. Get Zeke in the game.
2.5 might not even be Zeke.
So how many carries does he get?
Zeke?
For 2.5, yeah.
He gets 2.5.
Right. He's going to need 2.
I saw this somewhere. I don't know if it's accurate, but that in Belichick's time with the Patriots, their running backs have averaged 436 carries per season. So if you're looking at it,
what?
That's not a surprise.
That sounds.
That's probably close to like what every team has.
436 running back carries.
Yeah, I could be off. I could be off.
We can look that up. You want me to see if I can find that?
Yeah, it was something to the effect of there's 200 plus carries available for both of them. And so if there's 200 plus carries available, Zeke is probably ranked too low if he's going to get 200 carries, because he's probably going to still fall into some good production. But if Ramondre is getting 200 plus carries plus the opportunity to get, I still would think 50 catches, you're talking about 250 touches with what he did last year based on his efficiency and the chance to score more touchdowns. Like, to me, that's a 3rd round pick all day.
If Zeke gets 200 carries, then Bill Belichick should get fired. Zeke was arguably the worst running back in football last year. He had, on a per touch basis, there was like a minimum amount of touches. He had the lowest yards per touch, catches and carries. I mean, remember that game, that Thursday night game where the Titans sat half their defense and he ran for 2 yards per carry or something like that? He was terrible. He should not get 200 carries.
What was that number again?
I thought it was either 436 or 462, something.
Okay,
like
436 would have been the 4th most running back carries last year in the NFL. I was wrong about that being the average. Last year's average was 369.9 running back rushes over the span of a season. Patriots were below league average at 354. That was in 2022. Let's take a look at 2021.
So remember that this Bill Belichick era has mostly been 16-game seasons. So that's why that.
Yeah, maybe. But again, you'd expect more carries if you're playing an extra game. 2021, 408 running back carries. That was 6th most in football. The average was right around 370. Let's take a look at a year where they played only 16 games. That would be 2020, 341 rush attempts by their running backs.
All right. So I don't know what the number
370 is about league average for all running back carries.
Maybe I heard it wrong. I don't know. That's what I heard.
All right, can we get to more depressing notes here? This is about the Eagles running backs from Bo Wolf. Odds are the Eagles want DeAndre Swift to end up being the lead man in the backfield, given their investment in him. Because this is the most running back friendly offense in football, there's an opportunity for any of the 3 to have a monster season. We just don't know who.
Right. It's going to be game to game. I will say this. Check out their games, weeks 1 through 4. They play against New England, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Washington. There are some good run defenses that figure to be in front of them. And that would suggest that maybe they throw more to their running backs. That would help DeAndre Swift. I wouldn't be surprised if he got off to a pretty hot start.
It's just something they don't do, though.
I think they are going to now that Swift is there. I think they are going to morph into doing more throwing to their running backs because they've got Swift.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's just a matter of does it sway it enough that DeAndre Swift becomes a starting fantasy option? And that's something I think you got to wait and see, because is he going to get enough from a carry perspective and a catch perspective to be that type of player? And they just didn't do that last year with Miles Sanders by any stretch. And part of that is the offensive design. Part of that is Jalen Hurts' just ability to scramble and break, when plays break down, he's not looking to, his running backs, he's looking to run.
How about part of it being the coaching staff didn't trust Miles Sanders with targets?
Very fair.
Yeah.
I think they will trust DeAndre Swift with targets.
All right. This is from Mark Cabali. I have 3 left here. We'll go through this quickly here. I want to read some emails. Mike Tomlin is a bell cow running back coach, and it wouldn't be shocking if Najee Harris equals his numbers from a year ago, 313 touches.
That's hard for me to read.
I know.
But that would be an offense that's hard to watch unless Najee finds a big boost in efficiency. He hasn't even averaged 4 yards per carry in a season yet. He might be a bell cow running back coach. Who says that Harris is his cow?
Okay. Well, you better move him down in the rankings. All right. Anyway, this is from Michael Sean Duggar. Gonna get the This is Michael Sean Duggar on the Seahawks. What remains unclear is whether Zach Charbonnet, pick number 52 in the draft, will be a true 1B to Ken Walker's 1A or a legit backup. The type reserved for moments Walker is tired or injured. The latter scenario dramatically increases Walker's fantasy value. The former would suggest a by committee situation. All right, so we don't really have to get into that. I mean, we know that's something we're keeping an eye on right out of the gate. It's their usage. But even the beat writer doesn't know what it'll be. All right, and then Jamie, remember I planted my flag that the Titans would not be bottom 10 in pass attempts. Here's something Joe Rexroad said from The Athletic. The guess here is Derrick Henry comes in significantly below the 343 carries he has averaged in his past 3 full seasons. The Titans want to be more balanced, and rookie back Tyjae Spears is too good to not get some work. If that balance is effective, if Ryan Tannehill can stay upright and get big seasons out of Hopkins and Burks, Henry may have a, quote, work smarter, end quote, season with similar production despite a lighter workload?
I'd be surprised if it's similar production, just because I think he needs that volume, because that's kind of what his strength is, that he beats up on defenses, and then the fourth quarter he's just a monster.
Yep.
So I mean, look, he can be more involved in the passing game. That's certainly something we've seen the last couple of years. When he got hurt, he was on pace for 36 catches. When he played last year, he had over 30 catches. So he can certainly be close to a 40 catch guy in 17 games. I do think, though, if he's not close to leading the NFL in rushing, and he can still score 20 touchdowns, but if he's not doing that, then you're going to be very frustrated about Derrick Henry.
I can't wait to see the play action stats for Tennessee, because they could get linebackers going every which way with play action, and then Tannehill has options far downfield with Burks, intermediate with Hopkins, and short with Henry. And all three of those guys can do damage with the ball in their hands. This is a low-key fun offense. I still think they're going to be true to the run, though. And if Derrick Henry stays healthy, over 300 carries again.
It'll be Mike Vrabel versus Tim Howard, how that goes. If they want to call more pass plays, and Mike Vrabel's like, yeah, we got that guy back there. Let's just do what we do.
By the way, Henry had 41 targets in 16 games last year. 37 of his 41 targets came in 12 games with Ryan Tannehill.
Nice.
In the other 4 games, he had 4 targets.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break here.
Tannehill, or is that just competent quarterback?
Well, they barely
competent quarterback.
They didn't trust Malik Willis to throw, and then Dobbs didn't really throw to him either. But all right, we'll take a break. When we come back, emails and tweets at fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. That's our email address. We'll be right back. I got a Team Name Tuesday for you. You have to really read it. I think it's better. Man in Jameer.
You got to sing it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You love to sing.
Well, this week 1, I'm starting Man in Jameer. No, I can't. I'm not singing. It's too early. But Man in Jameer is kind of funny. It just kind of sounds like Man in the Mirror. Emails and tweets. This is from David. I drafted Pollard at 1.10. I also drafted Deuce Vaughn. Is he the backup to Pollard, or am I better off dropping him for Sean Tucker in Tampa Bay?
I don't know if Vaughn is technically the backup. I think
Right.
Vaughn is going to be more of a specialty back that the Cowboys use, with a handful of snaps to just see how he does. I think if Pollard goes down, it's probably going to be Rico Dowdle right now, and then maybe we'll see what happens with Ronald Jones, or don't be surprised if somebody else is brought in, just because that group is probably pretty bad if there is no Pollard. But I would probably still at this point roster Deuce Vaughn going into the season than I would Sean Tucker.
I'll go the other way. I'll say that Tucker's the one you want to roster, just in case he ends up playing more in week 1 than we thought. He's a very good back. He can play 3 downs. And Deuce Vaughn is just going to be what Jamie said, a specialty back. He would need a litany of injuries, Deuce Vaughn would, in order to be a feature guy for Dallas.
Okay. By the way, Shane Steichen, just seeing now that he said that they will use a committee without Taylor. Whoever's got the hot hand, let them ride a little bit and go with that. We'll rotate those guys in, see where everyone is at. This is from Kirk. Tajay Spears, Ty Chandler, Deuce Vaughn. Who should I pick up?
Spears.
Tucker.
From Colin. Oh, I already read this one. This is
If something happens to Derrick Henry, Tajay Spears is a league winner.
Okay, I read Collins previously. This is from Matthew. Starter sit, Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields this week? 6 point per passing touchdown.
Lawrence.
Lawrence is a top 3 guy for me this week.
Oh, should have drafted him yesterday instead of Cup. Joe from Allen.
Well, what did you do at quarterback?
Deshaun.
Okay, well, that's your guy.
DeShazer.
Yeah. I am the Cup manager, and I received a tempting offer. I would give up Cup and get back Jahmyr Gibbs and Brandon Cooks.
Winner.
Cup for Gibbs and Cooks. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's a great return.
From Ben, I had the 6th pick in our 10-team draft. McCaffrey fell to me in the 1st round.
Ooh.
I took A.J. Brown in the 2nd, Olave in the 3rd, and Devontae Smith fell to me in the 4th.
Look at this guy.
A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Should I try to trade Brown or Smith, or just start one of them at flex?
Roll with them to start the season and then possibly trade one of them. But congratulations on your playoff berth, Ben.
Don't trade him.
No, if you can get something good for him, sure.
Right. Let's say you could get someone of equal value.
The problem is like each week, one of them is going to be good to very good, and the other one will be to good.
Oh.
It's going to be rare when they're both very good.
Oh, why do you say that? If that's the case, then they're being overdrafted, I would say. And I don't even disagree because, like I said, we always say 49ers math problem. We rarely say Eagles math problem, but they threw the fewest passes to running backs in the NFL last year. We think that's going to change. Dallas Goedert missed a big chunk of games. Devontae Smith was not even a top 30 wide receiver before the Goddard injury. Devontae Smith basically had better production and slightly more targets, I think, than A.J. Brown in the second half. So
the only thing I would push back on is if they're throwing more to their running backs, it's because they're not getting as many carries.
Oh, maybe.
There were 7 games last year where both had at least 15 PPR points. 3 of them, it looks like, came without Goddard on the field.
Right.
Almost all of them came at the end of the year.
Right. And then the playoffs, I mean, the Super Bowl, they both had. Well, the playoffs was interesting because the Super Bowl, they both had big games, but I think the 49ers, Hurts wasn't very good the first 2 games.
No, there's no reason to rush trading one of them now unless you get a great offer.
And the math problem also takes into account there's a better quarterback in Philadelphia.
It's then Purdy. Yeah, there is. Okay. From T, who would you play week 1? Adam Thielen at Atlanta, Nico Collins at Baltimore, or Mike Evans at Minnesota?
Evans.
That Vikings defense is not going to be good.
Yeah, agreed.
They made some pretty major additions, though. Byron Murphy, Marcus Davenport. Anyone else? They also lost Dalvin Tomlinson. They lost Patrick Peterson. They're probably going to stink.
Brian Flores is probably their biggest addition.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Give me a week 1 upset.
You said the Bears are favored?
Yeah.
Packers.
I picked them too.
I haven't made picks yet. I suppose I
I
should.
took the Bears. Week 1 upset.
I'm surprised
Raiders.
the Jaguars, by the way, are only a 5-point favorite. Who'd you say, the Raiders?
Yeah.
Let's see the spread there. Raiders are 3.5-point underdogs at Denver.
Who's the biggest dog this week?
The Texans are 10-point underdogs.
Yeah.
Against Baltimore?
Yep.
I would take the Texans in the points.
Me too. I did that.
I took the Texans in the points too.
I wanted to place a bet, but I got locked out of my account. And
yeah, they need your info.
Yeah.
And they're not the ones who need it.
I'm very concerned that I'm never going to see that money anymore. Not that it's a lot, but I tried. I was like, this is my email address. Like, we don't have that email address.
Yeah, the state of New York would like to see it.
Okay. All right, we're out of here, everybody. It was a legal site, Dave.
Oh, I'm just saying.
What? What do you mean?
They want to make sure that that you're paying your fair share.
I am doing everything.
Erwin R. Shyster might visit your house if you don't.
I'm not breaking any rules.
Hit you with a metallic briefcase.
Oh, I don't know if
you have to grab him by his red tie.
I don't know if you guys watched college football this weekend, but
we did.
Florida State is amazing.
Awesome.
I can't deal with it. And Clemson, what's going on, Clemson? It's pathetic.
Apparently, Dabo doesn't like the portal.
Apparently, he doesn't like the portal, and they have no wide receiver. But they fumbled the ball twice inside the 10. They missed 2 field goals, I think. I got 2 blocked or something. All right, we're out of here. I love football. Game on Thursday. Let's go. Oh, hit the wrong button. See you later.